When I was a player, I was always obsessed with Federer, how he does it. So today we're going to talk about the benefits of the Roger Federer serve. Stay tuned. Okay, my champions, let's talk about the first thing that I noticed on Federer's serve is I teach a lot of my players when they're getting ready for their stance to have the back toe more or less in the middle of the front foot. Okay, but if you look at Federer, he's a bit more sideways even. Okay, he's around about there. Okay, and there's three reasons why I think he does that. Number one is this gives you a lot of rotation out of the hips. So if you are able to load and open up your hips properly by being a bit more sideways, you're going to be able to get a bit more power as you open up into the ball again. Number two, there's obviously a lot more rotation as well, but also your opponent can't see where you're going, so the disguise is amazing. Think about it, Federer, if you look at him, the ball's in the air. From here he can do anything. He can go down the tee and he can go angle. So the disguise is amazing with his stance. Let's move on. If you watch Federer, you'll see that his rhythm is amazing on his serve. His timing is always there. And one of the reasons I believe is because if you look at this picture on the screen right now, you'll see that his left arm is already up, but his racket is down. Okay, this now causes the racket now has to play catch up. It has to go get the ball, so there's no pause. Okay, if the arms go up together, you pause, there's no rhythm. Federer really makes it very obvious that he tosses the ball first and then the racket starts releasing. So there, toss, and then he serves. Let's move on. Hey guys, tip number three that I spot on Federer's serve is you will always notice that as his racket starts coming up, strings are closed. Okay, what does this help with? It helps to keep the racket on edge, and from here it's so much easier to get into the momentum and start swinging up. Okay, so remember, before you start going into the momentum upwards, if your strings aren't closed, you're going to find it very hard to get pronation, and pronation should happen automatically if your strings are close to the ground. We're going to talk about pronation again later, but I want you to first recognize how he's setting up here before he starts swinging upwards. To that position, I want you guys to notice how Roger really puts a lot of weight on his back leg. It almost looks like he's leaning a little bit backwards, and I believe this is just winding him up a little bit more, and putting weight on the back leg is really going to help him to accelerate up into the ball. A lot of acceleration up into the ball. Too many players have too much weight on their front leg and they can't get that upwards motion because they never get into the proper trophy. As you can see Federer do, weight on the back leg, proper trophy, and from there he can shoot up. The next two things I want you to recognize, I want you to pay attention. This is not something you want to force. This is something that comes with practice, and this is something that comes automatically if you've set up correctly. Okay, now Federer's setup is ready to go upwards. Okay, now he's exploding upwards to the ball. I want you to notice how as he explodes up, his racket just drops. It drops so much that the butt of the racket is actually facing the ball. Okay, now that happens automatically if you have the racket on edge, if you have the right preparation, if you've trained enough. But look, as he goes up, he explodes up to the ball, the racket goes down, so it all works together. Then after that, what also happens automatically is the pronation. Okay, Federer has a crazy pronation, but I can promise you he doesn't think about it and he doesn't try and do it. Okay, also want you to notice as he goes up into the pronation, he pulls his left arm down, but he pulls it to the belly, and that allows him to keep his head up and have a proper pronation. So he doesn't pull his left arm all the way down. He brings it into the belly first, keeps his head up, the pronation happens automatically, and then he releases. So it will look something like this. I believe the reason why he's got such a good pronation is because he's allowing himself to stay up like he's floating in the air, and then the pronation is happening automatically. If you're pulling down a lot, you're not going to be able to pronate. Okay, I'm going to show you one more picture of how much he actually pronates. You can see his racket going all the way there with the pronation. This is still part of the automatic process because he's set up well. What I like about Roger though is If you look at how he finishes, he does a pronation all the way there, but then he still finishes properly. He still finishes over there with a good finish. Okay, so that's how I know it's automatic for him, but it's automatic because he's got the right biomechanics in place. Let me try and copy one serve, and just a reminder not to try and copy Roger Federer. Just use his principles. If you try and copy someone, you're going to find yourself in trouble. How do I know that? Because I learned the hard way. Okay, you got to be your own player. Let me try and copy it sideways. Let me know in the comments what you think about my Federer copy. My champions, thank you for watching. If you want 2 amazing tips to help you with the rhythm and timing on your serve, check out this video on the screen. And I want you to remind you that you can support me so much by simply liking this video and just subscribing. Thank you.